Okie. Ready for another week. Getting ready to start here in just a minute or two. Ready to rock and roll now. Got the chat up, got notes, and ready to rock and roll. It is Friday night. Once again. Weren't here last week because I was packing, getting ready to go on vacation. But we're here again. It is 8:31 in Omaha, Nebraska, and we're gonna roll. Welcome to Pete's Tech Den show number 31. We're making our march upward. This is where we talk about ways to take old tech and reuse it in new ways. A lot of times that involves, taking old computers and using them and finding new purposes for them when maybe they're not quite capable of being your main driver that you use to do your work. And then also exploring ways to do stuff with new technology where you're not having to break the bank. And then occasionally we dive into some of the moral issues that technology presents, and coming at it from a Christian perspective. I found we've had a lot of great discussions and talks, about that, and hopefully we'll continue to have those, because as always, I don't know, I find them, super interesting to try to, to think through, to not just, blindly do things because that's the way we've always done them. I don't know. I always really want to challenge the ways we do things and think about, make sure we're thinking about what we're doing, not just blindly doing it. But tonight we're gonna talk about laptops. Earlier in the year, we did a show similar, but it was kind of more geared toward desktops and looking at how to how to think through building one. Basically, from buying all the parts and putting it together. What just hit me? Another show idea. So that one we covered basically thinking through like what parts you're buying. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll do one where we build a computer on the show, but we'll see. We'll see what you guys want and what happens. So tonight we're going to talk about laptops. And part of this was sparked by coming across this laptop that, let's just say, I, do all this on my MacBook Pro. I love Macs, they're great. But tell you the truth, I found a laptop this week, and it's one of those things where, you start reading about it, you're like, ooh, that sounds really cool. Oh, actually, this is like, this is something that's like, when you get to see something like really exciting and you're just like, oh, this is so amazing. I really wish right now I needed to go buy a new laptop because I'd be going and buying one of these. And it's not an Apple computer. It's literally, for me, it's the first non-Apple computer that's really left me kind of salivating, like thinking, that's like, I'd really like to buy it. But we'll talk about that later in the show. So I figured, I was thinking, laptops, and then came across this article, um, that was like best budget laptops. I was like, huh, this is kind of interesting. Um, and they pick what they think is the best budget laptop. Um, and then they go through several other ones that are right. Other ones that they think are interesting. But I was thinking through this, and um, I actually had some people ask me about you know where because I work in IT. I always forget this. Um, you know, and I work with computers. I have people from time to time ask me, what either they're wondering what kind of what would be a good computer to get, or a lot of times it's I'm looking to get this computer. Is this really the best computer to get? Um, and so I'm just gonna kind of go through and think through because when you're going to buy a laptop, I mean, you have the Windows computers. You've got you now have Chromebooks. Um, you have Macs, and then you have Linux laptops. Um, Linux, I'm discovering, as I try to keep up with stuff, like more and more places where you can get, a Linux laptop. Uh, but, you know, so I'm just going to kind of work through those and talk about some of the things. Because, I mean, some of it, I mean, and which one you buy is what operating system is going to work best. What are you most comfortable with? What's going to work best for you? Um, and so, the thing to think about with Windows is that you only have, I mean, you have less than a year, and then they're cutting off, Windows 7. You won't be able to get, you won't be able to buy new computers with Windows 7 or Windows 8.8 or 8.1 on it, um, which are, better options to at least Windows 10 right now. But if you want to know more about that, you gotta go listen to, I think, yeah, you have to go back to listen to episode 28, Windows debacle. Um, that's something to think about. And then actually, I had a friend of mine ask me about, buying. He was looking at Windows, and it's this one right here. Let me flip over to it. For this price, I have to say, for about $450 to get an i5 with 8 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte, um, that's a pretty. I mean, that's a pretty good deal. I mean, I kind of I browse, get ads and stuff from some of the places I look for electronics, like Newegg, done a little, Amazon sort of, um, and then Fry's. Fry's is the other big one, and then of course eBay. I do some out there, um, but for $450 for that, when you're looking at a Windows laptop, I haven't seen that combination that price for those specs in any of those sales is a really good deal. Well, I guess you have to pay like $70 more, or so. It's like $64 more if you want Windows 8. Otherwise, you have to go with Windows 10. That's the one downside to it. But you can always put Linux on there. So I am becoming more and more of a Linux person. I'm just saying. But so this is more of it's kind of a medium range, specs wise. It's not like a super horsepower computer, but but unless you're going to be doing some like big gaming or, you know, or big gaming or lots of like video editing, you could probably get by with it. But if you're doing something like a lot of video editing for the like super power users, other than that, it's going to be just fine. But that's one that I've come across. The other one, which was somebody who was they were looking for a little bit more higher end, a lot more horsepower. This is another one that's a pretty good deal. Because the nice thing about this one, for $729 is pretty good. You get 16 gigs of RAM, so you get double the RAM, a 250 gig SSD, an i5, and Windows 7, of course. But it's the 5th generation, which I believe is of the Intel processors. I believe that's Broadwell, I think, if I remember correctly. But I think it's one of these. Oh, what's going down? See if there was. Felt like there was a configuration where it went up to an i7, but it doesn't look like it. I think you may have had to jump to. Oh, there it is. Right there. And then you could get the same configuration for about I think there's 150 more. You get a better screen. Yeah, about 150 more. You can get a better screen. And the i7. So basically i7, and then the upgrade from the 763 or 60, I think 68 screen to the full 1080. So that could be not bad, but let's get rid of 10 stuff. Because I think they both have. I guess you do get the bump up in the graphics card, so that can be helpful too. But one thing I was thinking about this, like one thing that I've begun to realize, like how important, how much I appreciate it. One of like the most underrated features, like as you think of with a computer, and with a laptop, that, like, a lot of times you can get like super focused on like what processor does it have, how much RAM, how much hard drive space, graphics card, you know, what kind of screen does it have? Does it have a fingerprint? Does it have a CD drive? You can get caught up in all these specs, and you forget one important detail that can be super important. And that is, how much does the computer weigh? you know? It's like, because if you want this thing to be portable, it means you have to want to carry it. Whether it be on your back, in a backpack, in your arms, it's one of those things where it's something like, I found it's like a lot of times I'm looking through the specs, trying to find, no, they don't list the weight. It's especially if you're buying like a new used, sometimes refurbished, you can run into those kind of problems. But it's like, I mean, I know I have my work laptop at work, which is let me see. I think it's a Dell Latitude E. I forget what it is. Okay. I think it's this one. I think it's the Dell Latitude. I think it looks like it. Yeah, I think that's it. Like, and this is like one of the biggest things I have against it is its weight. Really? I must not. Isn't this, I feel like it's heavier than that. Okay, now I'm. Okay, yeah, this is it. How much is? Okay, I'm looking, trying to. It's only 5 pounds. I guess it's like 5 pounds. It seems. I don't know. It seems heavier than that. Maybe it's just like it's because it's like, you know, when you close the lid, it's like that thick. It's like, you know, I guess it's not only that's how bulky it is. It seems a lot heavier than that. I don't know. Let's see. I was just trying to thinking weight. No, it's like 5 pounds. It seems like it was. It seems like it would be. I felt. I don't know. I just felt like it was heavier than that. Um, and then I have. I guess. I, well, I guess my the thing I'm doing it on is actually only about a half pound lighter. But you are talking about the difference between a 14 inch and 15-inch display. And I think the other guy is, this guy is only like 0.7 inches thick, where I feel like this other guy is like, it's like inch thick. I feel like that's what it says. Well, it'll be 1.2. I guess thinking that it's 1 when it's open and you're just measuring the bottom. 1.2 when you have the lid closed. But and then it's about the same depth and width. Really? I didn't. No, it's about an inch. Yeah, that's about makes sense. So weight can be something it's important. Important to think about. Another option, which is actually what this article that I read about, I'll post it in the show notes about, let's just show it. Best budget computers. The best one they found they said is a Chromebook. Although I will say, there it does say 470. That okay. Ads. If we go over here, and look it up on Amazon. Well, I guess they did say it was for the fully maxed out. That is 470. What was I thinking? Oh. Well, when I first looked at it, I was looking this way. Where? Oh, this one which is only 230. But yeah, you really want. I mean, I saw one. I am not a. I don't. I've been super critical of Chromebooks. I don't. I guess the thing that frustrates me is like you can't install any of your normal stuff, so you're kind of, dependent on Google and their software. And it's very much geared toward, when you have access to internet, you have to have access to the internet to do. I mean, you can do things, but it's built to have internet, to work its best when it has the internet. And really, like, I look at this and I'm like, I don't know, like, I don't think this is the best budget. I mean, I just look down at the other options. Oh, they list this Dell Spiron 17. You get a 17-inch to screen. You get an i3, 4 gigs of RAM, and a 500 gig hard drive. So it's like almost 20 times bigger than the hard drive with the other guy. And you got a bigger screen, and suppose you get a fourth generation. I guess you got a fourth generation Intel i3 instead of a fifth generation Core i5. And it doesn't have it. It's not. It's a spinning disk. And they list another Chromebook, which is getting the Celeron with the 4 gigs of RAM. But you only have I don't get 16 gigs of RAM in a laptop. Not 16 gigs RAM. 16 gigs. 16 gig hard drive. That's like not gonna work for me. And then of course they have the HP Stream, which I just feel like is the worst of both worlds. Because you end up, it's kind of like the Windows competitor to the Chromebook. So it's like they try to basically beat Google at their own, game. And it's just like, that's not enough resources to run Windows. And 32 gigs of RAM, that's not enough space. Like, no. And then come back to this guy, which, $500 for Core i5 4th generation, 500 gig hard drive, 4 gigs of RAM, 14-inch screen, and you're getting Windows 8. I don't know. This one, I feel like this one is really the only, in my opinion, I don't know. I think you get more value out of a laptop if you don't get a Chromebook. They're just so no hard. No hard. You need more hard drive space than that. I think anybody would agree. It's like, just stick a 120 in there, So this wouldn't. I wouldn't even go with that one. I don't think any of those have. I feel like this one here is a better deal. Just throwing it down. That's what I think. Just like, you kept looking at like Chromebooks, which I will say, I think I'm going to try to grab Chroma. Because here's the thing. I've interacted with it a little bit. Just helping students set up Wi-Fi on their Chromebooks. Which is, at school, is a pain. For a while, they just didn't even support WPA2 Enterprise. It's like, nope, this doesn't, yeah. And it's just like, that's frustrating. Well, frustrating because it's like, that's what this thing is built, So, never been a fan of the idea. So, but I think I'm going to try to get something. There's some stuff, I'm going to try to get the Chrome OS on something and just try it out. So I can at least say I tried it. And I guess give it a fair shake. But that'll be coming down the road. So that's the Chromebooks. It's also interesting, story came out about Google trying to maybe like bring. I feel like I'm gonna hit the microphone. Chrome OS and Android together and just make it into one operating system. And then they came out and the story ran, and then they came out and denied it. So who knows what they're doing? Um, could could be interesting. I don't know. But the thing I think about it is like, well, that's what Windows, Microsoft has done with Windows, is to try to make it one operating system. And in a way, I don't. I don't think it works there. I don't. I mean, I don't think Chrome OS really works, so I'm not sure I could get any. It probably could mesh to some extent, just because it's the kind of the same thing. It's like, Chrome OS depends on Google Apps, their app store, and doesn't run traditional software, and it depends on the internet. Kind of the the things. What does Android do? Well, you have a Google Play Store. You could get along without the internet, but having data with a smartphone is super nice. What was he? Doesn't run traditional, So maybe they could mesh. Interestingly, we actually have something coming up. We'll see when. That kind of plays on that idea. So that's a tease. You just have to keep coming back and watching. That's what you have to do. And that's that. And then then get to Macs, and you can try to go out and buy them used. But if you're buying them from Apple, things to think about are like, well, if you work at a school or you are in college, some way you have a .edu email. Education discount is it's awesome because they knock off some off the computer. You get a discount on the extended warranty, the Apple Care, and then a lot of times, especially around like when college semesters, they throw in another free thing. In the past, it's been like $100 gift card to to iTunes, App Store, both those kind of things. Which I got one of those, and I think I still have like $50 left. So, so you get that. That's kind of nice. You can pick up software, or music, or a mixture of the two. Right now, I think, right now it's you get a free pair of Beats headphones. I actually have some in a box. I need to get them out and give them a try. And the wired ones, or you can throw in an extra 100 and get the wireless ones. I was like, no, I think I'll take the free ones. Kind of a byproduct of Apple buying Beats. So, gets good discount. Some more free stuff is awesome. If you don't have that, you know, they do have refurbished ones, and Apple does put them through a stringent refurbishing process. They even tell you all about it. You can actually pull it up on their website. I can see. Let's just see. Let's just pull it up. I guess the one thing is, a lot of times you wouldn't think budget, you know, spending and getting the most out of what you're spending, you know, being on a budget laptop, and think think Apple, because they do cost more. But the thing is like, I'll tell you, I mean, you get what you pay for with you get great computer, um, you know, well built, um, will last longer probably than you want it to. Um, like I know my first MacBook, I got one of the white unibody Macs, and I bought it for 1,000 and used it for 3 years and then sold it for 400. Probably could have sold it for more, but that's beside the point. I mean, Mac products or Apple products, hold their value really well. They're just built like a tank. A very beautiful tank. So like just a super high quality product, and the nice thing is that Apple, they make the hardware and they make the software, so they can make the two work really well together. And so you get that, and then the service is just amazing. So pretty good. Pretty good computer. And yes, here, rigorous refurbish process, and it goes in the process of the kind of. It's kind of like a general bullet point of, well, let's just switch over. Oops. 1 minute. That wasn't what I was thinking, but whatever. There we go. There you can see. It's fully tested, including full burn-in testing. Refurbished with replacement parts for any defective. Put it through a clean process and inspection. It's repackaged. Will include the service, and it's given a refurbished part number, serial number. They really do. I know my brother bought a refurbished Mac, and they do a good job of putting it through, of refurbing it. But now, I really want to get to what I was talking about. Not an Apple computer that leaves me super excited and really help me pick the topic for this week. It is an amazing laptop. And I almost showed it to you earlier. It's just a glorious. But, so, this leaves the last operating system. We talked about Windows. We've talked about Chrome OS. We've talked about, Mac laptops. And now we're down to Linux. So, I listened to a bunch of Linux podcasts, to kind of keep up with that and learn some new things. And in the process, I've been, I think, leaning more and more toward Linux. And I talk about this website. I have a new sponsor, System 76. And they don't, they mentioned it, and I got over their website and looked around, and I don't know. To me, I just didn't see anything super compelling. Because I was looking for that, that computer that fit, the budget thing, where it was a really good deal. Because it's like, you don't really be spending, because Linux is free. I don't know. I just feel like you should, it's okay. I'm just paying for the hardware, kind of a thing. So this was some of their, desktops. But I was listening to one of these Linux podcasts, and they said that they had a new laptop. So always curious about the new technology. I was like, okay, let's go see what this is. So I go out to their website and I pull this up. This is what I'm looking at. It is the Oryx Pro. I'm looking at this, okay. Aluminum body, and you see this, right? Of course, you can't see my cursor. I see it right there. Up to 64 gigabytes of RAM in a laptop. That doesn't usually happen. I was like, that's pretty crazy. So that's kind of interesting. Not probably something, I probably wouldn't max it out at 64. At least not to start with. I'm going down, looking at it. Looking at the body, here, it's pretty kind of interesting. You got a 3.0, USB 3.0 on the left side, one on the back, and then 2 on the right side along with Ethernet. And you can see SSD, not SSD, SD card and a micro SD card slot, both of them. See there, power. And then you got an HDMI, 2 mini display ports. So you got, I feel like you could go 3 external. Then you get down to this. No. Talks about the graphics card, but pretty good. You can get an IPS screen. But okay, so I get down here. This is looking at the specs. Sixth generation i7. That's the baseline. So, 6th generation, that's latest generation Skylake i7 processor. standard would be a 15-inch, just screen. The graphics card, which doesn't. I must have looked. Let's just jump to this because this is where I think I kind of skipped through this. It's like I keep looking for this one detail that. Because here is this. Yeah, this was. So I was looking here, and you had the 15-inch disc screen, and I come to this 3 gig graphics card. That's standard. Got the i7. Comes with 8 gigs of RAM, standard, and it's DDR4. So a lot of laptops right now have the DDR3. DDR4 is the newest. And you notice because of the 64 and ways you can get the 32. It does have 4 RAM slots. 4 RAM slots. I was like, that's crazy. I decided to drop me in this. So you can, like, 4 RAM slots. Like, that's, for a laptop. And then you get down here to the OS drive, and you can get, it's the M2 SSDs, M.2. But you have 2 slots. And then you have 2 of those slots. And then you can also add an additional 2 2.5-inch drives. Either, spinning disk or solid state. It comes standard with. So basically, the standard is a 15.86 inch 1080p LED backlit display. 3 gig graphics card, 3.5 gigahertz i7 quad core processor, Skylake 6th generation, 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM, 120 gig M.2 SSD. And then, it's got space galore to upgrade. And then, of course, a 1-year warranty. And so you're just like, and back on this other one, over here, the important one is weight. 5-inch, 5.5 pounds. So it's still a little bit heavier, but to have that much cram packed into a laptop, like I say, laptop, like, that's just like crazy. You just go, what somebody say? Do you think there's a laptop where I can put in 64 gigs of RAM and 4 hard drives? They're gonna be like, nope. There is no laptop. Yeah, this one can. It's like, that's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy to me. It's just nuts. And what's even more nuts is you probably already saw this, but the base model with the quad-core i7, 8 gigs of RAM, 120 gig M.2 SSD, 3 gig graphics card, 1080 display, it's 15.6 inch. It is. Oops. Well, that was it? I was thinking I was on the right page, and no, I'm not. It is basically $1,400. $1,400. I mean, even okay, just to compare it. Okay, this is nuts. Okay, we'll leave it with a 15.6 inch. The i7. We'll give it 16 gigs of RAM. And we'll give it, 512 gigabyte. That's the two M.2s. There are two of them for two 256s, and they're striped, so they act as one. So they're super fast. So okay, even going that route. Okay, so my MacBook, similar specs to what I've just lined up. It has, my Mac has a quad-core i7 2.5. I think 2.5, yeah. Because the faster one is 2.7. So it's got 2.5, and I think it's got 5th generation i7. So it loses on that count. It has a 2 gig dedicated NVIDIA graphics card. So it loses on that count. It's got 16 gigs of RAM, but it's DDR3. So it loses on that count again. It has a 512 flash-based PCIe hard drive. We gave it 2 of them striped. That's gonna be faster. So you could say it loses on that count too. I guess let's see. I wanna check the one thing. Let's just think about the screen. How does the screen hold up? Well, let's just go here. I'm thinking. I feel like it might beat it on the screen because I feel like the Retina is better, I think. But I just want to check this. Oh, here it is. I guess the one in the graphics card in my Mac is it's an AMD Radeon R9. Well, it doesn't. It sort of says it, but it's gonna pull up system information and. Yeah, there it is. Graphics and display. Okay, so it's probably the Mac probably. I think it wins on the graphics on the screen because it's got the Retina, which is. Let's see if I can find it. Oops, it's got the 2880 by the 1800. You know, the O-rings only has a 1080. So I guess it wins on. We'll give the MacBook Pro a win on the screen. But even at those specs, like, let's see what, and we'll give us a 3-year warranty, so it's comparable. I would still bring the laptop only up to 2100. And like, you'd have all that room for like expansion, and plus you could upgrade your computer. That's like the MacBooks are now, like, the RAM is soldered onto the board. I think the hard drive is like, no, you basically get what you want. The whatever the most is, and it's just like, and with a warranty, let's just pull it up here. We can. Oh, I gotta hit the. Let's. So that one's at the 2100. Going at the 15-inch. Oh, I guess it's a 2.5. Oh no, this is the one. No, yeah, it's 2.5. So I'm gonna cite that. Then we're gonna get the Apple Care. I don't know if you can see that down there. $2,848. That's a difference of whatever, $746. Like, this is a stinking. I mean, and you wouldn't even need that. I mean, you could go. I would probably go with a base. Because, I mean, I'd probably buy stuff later. Find, like, parts on sale and stuff. I might go for the IPS display, because that's not something you could really upgrade very easily. Still, that's only. It's under $2,000, and that's a. And the thing, okay, if you go with the IPS, you can even take this up to an 8. I mean, okay, if you went with this all the way, you could do some pretty crazy stuff. Because you could get an 8. Oh my goodness, an 8 gig graphic. Like, your graphics card has 8 gigs of memory. Like, that's just crazy. And to put, like, 64 gigs of RAM, and I'll just stripe them, and you can put 2 terabytes solid state. I mean, this is when it gets super expensive. That's all. $5,000. Use one sweet computer. But that laptop, oh man. I'm probably, well, I mean, interesting thing is that if I pull it, come back to me. If I go back to it, the thing that's like super nice And I didn't notice until I was looking at it like for like a second or third or fourth time. But when you're buying the RAM, you'll notice here they have two. Let's shrink me down. Oh, alright, just stick me over there. They have two different 32 configurations. So you get the one where you get, say, just 4 8 gig sticks. So basically, you're not really thinking toward upgrading. Or you can get two 16 gig sticks, where it's like you could just buy two more 16 gig sticks and come up to 64. Where, if they just offered the 4 8s, I mean, you'd be set to replace them all to upgrade. So, I mean, it's like stuff like that. It's like, that's nice for them to do. But yeah, that computer, I have to say, unless Apple does something like super duper, I'm like this close to where I almost would say my next computer may not be an Apple. Which is like, I've been on that bandwagon, big, I like Apple a lot. I will say, the one thing that kind of holds me back a little bit, trackpad. It sounds like a small thing, but just being able to do all the different gestures and stuff on the trackpad to move around and stuff. Linux and Windows have nothing, or OS. Nobody has anything like the Apple trackpad. Like they've done it right. It's a beautiful trackpad. Just super nice to like. I don't know, like on some of the other ones, you can feel like you're just like, tunk, tunk. I'm hitting a brake as I put my finger down, but it's just like, it's just so nice to put your finger down and like. I feel like my finger would get tired of hitting this, but this one is just, it's just nice to put your finger there. But that's the show. That's it. So that's the laptop that non-Apple. But it's like, I mean, if you're talking about the amount of horsepower you can put in the thing, the amount of expansion and stuff that it leaves you with, just, you just sit down and like, well, okay, I've got, I've got like 4 terabytes of hard drive space in my computer, and 64 gigs of RAM, and the ability to, I mean, that's pretty crazy. I don't know. If you can't tell, this computer leaves me excited, very excited. Pretty awesome. Go check it out. If you want a power laptop and you're willing to go with Linux, I mean, System 76, they make sure it all works. So it'll work just straight out of the box. It'll be a blast. So that's a wrap. Now, go forth and make sure that you live your life in a way that maximizes your impact on the world around you. Do awesome things with little money and just have fun. Still working on that. I feel like I've almost got the, I guess, the post show now. I feel like I'm getting the intro down. I don't know. I still haven't found like, most of the podcasts they kind of have like, they either have music they play at the end or they have like kind of that catchphrase that they say at the end, but I haven't found it. So, if anybody out there knows of one, that would be awesome. And that will be all for tonight. I gotta go grab some food and then go play some ultimate frisbee, I think. That's the way it's gonna be. Good night.